welcome to my channel. It's your girl tuadior. You see the new setup, you see the new background, you see what we're giving, and today we are going to talk about TikTok's still constant obsession with pretty privilege. So basically in the TikTok streets, there's a user named 573 Selena, and she made this video.
If I say, y'all gonna be mad at me if I say the post where people be like, what's the downside to being pretty is misogynistic, fueled by self-centered women. There's no downside to being pretty, baby. That happens to most, if not all women. You're not the only one. Okay? They be in the comments like, we get sexualized. Most women do. Men think we're dumb. Men think a lot of women are dumb. Ugly, pretty or not, they think you're dumb. They think we're airheads, baby. Welcome to being a woman. Shut up. Y'all gonna be mad at me if I...
So in her video, as you guys can see, she talks about some of the downsides that many of these downsides of pretty privilege videos create is actually just talking about how it's like to be a girl.
I'm just the girl in the world.
Shout out to my girl Gwen Stefani. And so I kind of feel like that is the truth. I mean, sometimes some of these things, they're like, oh, guys pay for my drink. Well, I've had guys pay for my drink. Do I have pretty privilege? I've had a guy buy me, like, we didn't even know each other that long, and he had bought me a Chanel perfume for my birthday. So I've gotten some things here and there too. Does that mean I have pretty privilege? So I kind of agreed, but then there was this user, her name was Yasmin Star, and this is what she had to say.
I cannot stand as a person who try to misunderstand people on purpose. That's all Selena's doing, is trying to misunderstand pretty girls on purpose. You know that pretty girls are mistreated firsthand because look how you acting. You treating the pretty girls mean simply because they're pretty. Are you not? Just like the pretty girls say, people mistreat us because they feel like we feel like we're better or we feel like we're prettier. People mistreat you because they feel like you never been through anything because you're pretty. That's exactly what y'all doing to them. And Selena, I just want to know, how do you know what a pretty girl go through if you not in their shoes?
And then she even came with this statement.
It hurts. We shine the light on whatever's worse. Perfection is a disease of a nation. Pretty hurts. We shine the light on whatever's worse. You try to fix something, but you can't fix what you can't see. It's the soul that needs the surgery.
They even got Jada Weda to even comment on the situation, and so this is what Jada Weda had to say.
Shade, but I keep seeing the pretty privilege talk and it's really starting to piss me off. I want you guys to know, I'm gonna grab your hand when I say this. It's so many pretty girls in the world. Being pretty is going to get you not far. You have to have a brain to sustain success off of a pretty face. If you don't have a brain, you're going to be one of those people who need not want to be like, oh, I got this, I got this, I got that, I got this and that. And it's never smart to use your prettiness as leverage, because when you go into situations like that, they never tend to work out in your favor. And then that's why girls be like, oh, it has its downfalls. No, you're just going in it thinking that that's going to get you somewhere and not being strategic. That's why it's so important to be intentional, have discernment, and know what's for you, because you will keep getting played.
My stance is that when it comes to the topic on the internet, I don't really feel like it's that deep, but let's, for the sake of this video, entertain the fact that pretty privilege is that deep. And so now I went through this rabbit hole going through kind of the takes of, is there truly a downside to pretty privilege, or is it just being a woman? And so these are not all the takes that people have had on the internet. There's so many takes that I just didn't feel like I had the storage to, you know, save up all the videos. But we're just gonna go through a couple videos and a couple takes that I thought were pretty interesting, that I wanted to really answer this question, because I think that is a good point to bring up. I actually had never even thought about, like, that's just being a girl, you know? But I think anybody obviously thinks that if you are, you know, considered pretty, you have an easier life, because that's what the studies tell us. That is what society has shown us.
Why do people always feel the subtle need to humble you? You don't even have to come off crazy. You don't have to come off cocky. You probably don't even have to say shit, but they still feel the subtle need to humble you. And it's like, that should get on my nerve, because it's like, what is y'all problem? It's always some subtle way, like a comment or like the way they behave. It's something like they won't give you your flowers when you deserve it. It's something. And it's like, that should be annoying me to the T, because you can't control what you look like. You can control how you carry yourself, but that only go to a certain extent. Like, you can't control what you look like. And for y'all to behave the way you do off that, like, it's really childish. It gets high school.
Okay, so in this take, she talks about the fact that pretty people always have somebody that's always trying to humble them. My personal opinion is that if you're out here killing it and macking the girls up, I mean, you're going to always have somebody hating on you, and it might not always necessarily be beautiful. I myself, I have experienced people try to humble me, right? I've had people try to humble me, but I'm a Leo, so you really can't humble me. You really can't. You really can't. But I have had people, I will take a different thing. So one thing about it, I'm a really girl that likes my extracurriculars. The grades, whatever. But the extracurriculars, that's where I eat the girls up. And the reason why I like that is I just like to feel like I'm doing something for my overall community. Like, it's just a personal thing. Because I think, like, for me, when I was young, I really wanted to take leadership positions, but I never had the clout, so I'd always lose, right? But now, as I'm older, nobody cares. So it's like, I don't know, it's just an internal thing for me. I just want to feel like I did something, you know what I mean? And so I really like to be like president of stuff, and I like to take it very seriously. Like, the girls will tell you, I am not playing. So I used to have a lot of comments in school about people saying, well, you always take everything, or you're always everywhere. And like, some people would just say it, but then there would be some people like, I can tell you hating. Like, you hating. And so I would just be like, okay. But people try to humble you if you're in a space that is like better than them. Like, if you are perceptibly doing better than them, they are going to try to humble you. They are going to hate on you. So I don't think it's unique to being pretty privileged. I think everybody has that experience. When you are doing better than somebody is going to hate on you for some aspect.
I don't like, this is why pretty people like to be around pretty people, because like, people don't know how to behave around them. Like, it's weird.
The second thing that she brings up here that I don't really like, and something that I really hate about the culture nowadays, is we live in a very aesthetic culture. You know, you gotta be a soft girl. You have to be an e-girl. You have to be strawberry makeup. I don't know what it is. There's just so much aesthetics, and I'm not gonna lie, I've adopted some of them. I'm not gonna lie, but there's always some type of aesthetic, some type of look, some type of Y2K vibe that you need to be in this generation to really fit in. And so a lot of people choose their friendships off of aesthetics and optics and things that are superficial in nature. And so she talks about that's why pretty girls are only friends with pretty girls. I feel like that creates an atmosphere of competitiveness. If you and all your friends is used to getting the same level of respect, y'all gonna end up bumping heads, because it's like, who gets the more guys, or who gets this, or who gets this, or who gets the most Instagram likes, or who gets the most TikTok comments, or whoever this, that. So you guys are gonna end up hating each other eventually, because you're gonna be in competition with that girl. As human beings, we are naturally very competitive. So I don't think it's a situation that if you only associate yourselves with girls that get it, y'all gonna start bumping heads too. And that's the problem in this generation, is that a lot of people choose their friendships off of optics. And that's why you guys have all these story times and all these crazy story times, because most of the time y'all are picking people because you guys are the baddies. You guys are picking people because of the optics or how it's going to look on Instagram. You've had those friends that will post certain friends that fit their aesthetic rather than their actual core friends. I've seen wonders in this life.
Let's talk about it. So first thing I want to say is, I'm going to tell you who I wish was on this app to handle this topic. Lip gloss. Why? They don't even talk. They get on social media and don't even talk. They don't open their mouth. They just look at the camera, benefit from pretty privilege. They not on here making think pieces. You know why? They don't even talk. They get on social media and don't even talk. They don't open their mouth. They just look at the camera, make faces, and lip sync. And they got millions of followers, thousands and millions of likes for doing nothing. That's pretty privilege. That's pretty privilege. When you can literally get online and do nothing, and you just do well for doing nothing, you have pretty privilege, right? And that's usually how those girls navigate life. It's just as easy, right? And that's why they ain't nowhere complaining about it, because they live in an easy breezy life. All of the stuff that's being talked about as to the downside of pretty privilege, about women always being jealous of you, you not being able to make friends, men treating you bad. Men will treat anybody bad, right? That has nothing to do with your looks. It doesn't save you from being treated better, and it doesn't stop men from wanting to treat you bad, right? But that can go for any type of woman. Women being jealous of you, are they really jealous of you? Or are you still holding on to that thing your mama told you when you was in school, that all the girls just was jealous of you, and you still think that to this day? You still believe everybody just jealous of you. Anytime you have any disagreement with women, or women just don't like you, you go straight to them being jealous, rather than looking at yourself in the mirror and realizing you just might be problematic, right? And that may be the reason why you can't make friends with women, is because of your personality and not your looks. At the end of the day, a good personality gonna get you further than them looks all day, every day. And that's just what it is. Because when you show up with pretty face, nasty attitude, don't nobody want to do anything nice for you. And I don't care how pretty that face is. I don't care how banging that body is. It's only gonna get you so far. You need to stop focusing so much on what you look like and start getting some personality up in that soul.
Video, the user, I really like the example that she gave, because I think that is the core essence of pretty privilege. I think people have now made it seem like, oh, because I get my nails done, I got my this done, and I told you guys all the stuff that I got. You know, that is not always pretty privilege. That can just be because the person is nice, or they just feel like it. Like, it doesn't always constitute to pretty privilege because somebody was a decent human being or a good human being to you. Or it was my first time my car battery died, and I was like sitting in the parking lot, damsel in distress. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Some guy that was like cutting the grass was like, wait, you good? And I was like, my car battery went. He went to go and buy me jumper cables and got the next car and like jump started my car. Like, it wasn't like, it was, I wouldn't say that that's pretty privilege. Like, I mean, I'm a girl, I'm a damsel in distress. Like, he's probably was just like, oh, this girl needs help. Like, he wasn't trying to do no pretty privilege. You know what I mean? So it's like, y'all just taking it to the next level. But I think that example of being able to do the bare minimum and still get a lot of likes or a lot of views. And honestly, like, I don't want to put creators on blast, but you guys know the certain creators that they're not really giving you much, but they still have a lot of views and they still get a lot of attention and a lot of opportunities without even having to open their mouth and create commentary. I mean, must be nice, girl. We gotta sit here and make think pieces while you could just kick your feet up and relax. You feel me?
But people to think that life is just all sunshine and rainbows, when in actuality, we go through it the worst. People think we got all these friends, we got niggas, we got options, we always invited to the parties, when that is literally the furthest thing from the fucking truth. For one, we get treated so bad by men, like so bad. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I've encountered some men that tried to do me fucking dirty, and I didn't do nothing to deserve it, nothing. But I've come to terms with the fact that a lot of men have gotten satisfaction of trying to break me down and belittle me. Whether it was because they was jealous or they wanted to diminish my worth so that nobody else could see me, I don't know, but it's weird as shit. Secondly, we go through it with other females so fucking bad. I'll link up with a girl and I'll be like, oh my gosh, she's so cool. She down to earth, like she a real one, And then a couple months down the line, I'm finding out that this bitch secretly hates me. I'm talking hates me. I've had guys that I'm cool with tell me about conversations he overheard that women were having about me in the same room as him. Not even digging. It's somebody over here to the far side of the room that know me. And we ain't even going to get into the mistreatment that we experience from family members, all because they feel some type of way about what we look like. Realistically speaking, people only fall all over us online. In actuality, Y'all fucking hate us. Granted, it's a lot of perks to being a pretty girl with a pretty heart, with a pretty attitude. But on the other hand, the weird shit that we have to deal with is not even worth trying to use that privilege. Most times I'm uninvited, I'm alone, I'm talked about, and I'm treated badly. Where they try to treat me badly, because I'm not going for none of that shit. So all this pretty girl privilege.
Okay, so she goes through a lot of issues with like girls not liking her. And again, this happens to women all the time. Like if you're just between girls, like people are gonna not like you for various reasons. You know, being mistreated by guys, that even happens. Girl, you can even lower your standard, and the guy that you lowered your standard for is gonna mistreat you. It's just, I don't even know how that works. Like, girl, like I don't even know how that works. But even the person that mistreat you, bro, you will lower your standard and that guy will still dog you out. Even girls that look a mess is getting played. Even they used to say, oh, even Beyonce got cheated on. You know, like it's just like, if you're a girl like living in this world, like I'm just a girl, you're gonna go through BS from guys. It doesn't matter how pretty you are. It doesn't matter like how well connected you are. A guy is always gonna do some dumb stuff to you. You just gotta have to pick your poison when it comes to guys, right? You just pick which guy is gonna be the less burden for you, right? And so I don't think that guys mistreating you so bad. I do agree that there are some guys, if they see that you get a lot of attention, you have a lot going for you. I've actually even, some of my situationships have even done that to me. Like, I know what she's talking about, but I don't think it's unique to pretty privilege. I think it's just unique to being a girl and being with an insecure man. Like, I don't think that. And also, in this video, I never once heard her mention anything about what she brings to the table. And I hate to say that. I don't want to sound like the manosphere, like, what do you bring to the table? I don't want to sound like that, but I'm not hearing a lot of like, what is she providing? You know, some girls, like when they make videos like this, they'll be like, I'm so nice, I help people, I volunteer, I do this. You know, she's just kind of making it seem like, you know, yeah, they don't like me, they just hate on me. Other boys tell me that they hate me. Like, you know, you're not giving what's supposed to be gave. You're not telling me like, you know, you said that the girl was nice and cool, but what were you giving? Because to me, if everyone's always saying something about you, it's not everyone that is intimidated by like really pretty girls. Like, it's not everyone that's like that. So if you feel like everyone is like that, you might have a personality. Like, you might not be giving what's supposed to be given, and that's okay. You know, I've definitely, like, I am very socially anxious. I, you know, get weird in social situations, and I realize sometimes people might not gravitate towards me because I'm kind of aloof. Like, I kind of like don't talk, and it makes people uncomfortable. Like, like if you go to a room and you don't talk, like, it makes people uncomfortable. But like, I just don't feel like talking. Like, I like you, but I just don't feel like talking. You feel me? But like, I've had that moments too. And I used to think that people didn't like me, and that I wasn't conversational. But I realized that sometimes sometimes I make people uncomfortable because I get quiet. Like, some people get uncomfortable. It's not that they don't like me, like, they're just uncomfortable. Like, and so I had to learn how to be a little bit more personable, smile, laugh, so that people feel comfortable. Like, that was something I had to change. So I don't think that it's that, you know, bad or anything like that.
Possess the type of pretty privilege that affords me to get my rent paid, but because I took classes and workshops on privilege. And the downside to pretty privilege is the downside to any form of privilege, right? And that downside, it's internal. It's all the other things the girlies are talking about. Yeah, girl, that's just the downside of living to a patriarchal, misogynistic society. The downside to pretty privilege, and again, any form of privilege for that matter, is that it warps your sense of reality. You know what I mean? That you begin to develop expectations and entitlements around certain things that make it difficult for you to grow or to sense what the truth of a situation is. Again, it changes the way that you see the world. That's the downside to pretty privilege. And it's funny to see it playing out in this whole conversation itself, right? People are jealous of me because I'm so pretty. No, girl, they actually require that you just contribute to the conversation and you haven't developed social skills. oh, I didn't like that job because the vibes were off and, you know, nobody wanted to help me. No, girl, you're used to people doing the work for you just because you're pretty, and then they expected you to do more and you didn't have the skills or knowledge necessary. Oh, so-and-so don't like me because I'm prettier than them. No, girl, they're not impressed with your looks and you didn't have anything else to offer. And in all of the examples, many pretty people, they have the opportunity to grow or to learn or to develop a new skill, but because they're used to not having to do that, they don't do it. It is then easier to find a flaw or to create an issue from the circumstances or the situation that they're talking about and excuse themselves from growing and developing as a person. And then something else I also want to say is that, like, you know, like the benefits or the downsides to any form of privilege aren't constant, right? Because I feel like there's a specific group of people that receive pretty privilege that also don't have the downsides, right? And these are people who grew up as like ugly ducklings, but they came to be more attractive as they grew older, right? These people have amazing personalities. They're incredibly knowledgeable and skilled and just have like a long list of other qualifications, and they miss all of those downsides of pretty privilege because they had to work on other parts of themselves. And as a result, because they didn't grow up with that privilege, they don't expect to receive things because they have that privilege. Does that make sense? But yeah, you can literally put any form of like privilege in the blank and make it fit and work out.
I really love this video because I think this was the only video I fully agreed with, in that the guy was talking a lot about privilege warps your sense of reality. And I think that's what I think why a lot of people don't give attractive people the benefit of the doubt sometimes, is that people feel like they think that they're on top of the world, so they don't want to give them another reason to think that they're on top of the world. And I think that it is true that when you have any kind of privilege and you start to think the world needs to cater to you, or even like the rich, when they feel like they can't get something that they really want, you know, all of a sudden they're a victim. Whereas there's like millions of poor people every day like begging to have even a quarter of what they have, right? And so I think that everybody gets blinded when they have a privilege because you don't realize, you can't see it in any other way. And I think that that is the bottom line of anything. And so if there is a downside of pretty privilege, I think it does affect those who are pretty. And I did see another video about a content creator saying that sometimes pretty privilege can affect the self-esteem of those who suffer from pretty privilege. And I do agree with that too. But I think that everybody suffers from insecurities of something in their lives. I don't think that that is unique to those with pretty privilege. The bottom line of this video is I really wanted to let you guys know that we all have a privilege. As much as it like comes off, we all have some type of privilege above the next person. The fact that if you live in the US and you watch me, the fact that you can go to school for free up until high school ends is a privilege, because in a lot of underdeveloped nations, you cannot go to school for free. If your parents cannot pay for that year, you're not going to school. And that's something that a lot of kids in the Western world take for advantage, that they get to go to school. The fact that some of you have your parents and your family to support you, whether you're in school and your family supports you. I had that support. Or you have kids and you have your grandparents or your parents, or you have people to help you raise your kids with you. Your parent came and lives in the house with you or takes your kids. Those are privileges that you don't realize because it's like so normal, it's so basic. Or the fact that you can just vote, or like different things like that. Like those are things that they might not seem like a big deal because they're like basic, but everybody has a privilege. And I think that the most important thing is that it's important for us to be grateful. And that's why I don't go on the internet and get upset that I may or may not have the pretty privilege that other creators have. Operate from a place of, I have been given so much and I am abundantly being blessed every single day. Even if you're not a Christian, you are being blessed. You are being given things to give you an advantage over others in the world. And I'm not saying you should be like, hey, but like I'm saying you do have things that you might not realize are privileges. And I think that it's important for us to operate. And I know social media can be damaging because we're seeing so many things we don't have. We don't have all the 10-step care beauty products. We don't have the rich lifestyle. We don't get to travel all across the world with no cares in the world. But there are creators, there are content that is similar to you. There are people that look like you that make content. There are people that are here to inspire you, uplift you, teach you new things that are actually important. And I don't think that we should constantly be on the internet arguing about pretty privilege, because at the end of the day, those who have it, if they don't use it well, as Jada said, they're not going to get anywhere in this life. If they use it, cool. But you also have an advantage that you might not be aware of. And I think it's important for us to operate from a place of gratitude. We have so much. And I don't know, this whole 2024, I've been so grateful for life. I've been so grateful for so many things that I took for granted. I am so like family oriented now. Like, I don't even know where that came from, because like in my teens, I was like, oh my God, my parents are annoying. I hate them. Oh my gosh. But like, as a 20-year-old, like when you sit back, you're like, I turned 25, guys, and I'm like, dang, like I really have a lot of blessings and things to be thankful for. So you're never going to see me on this internet complain about things that I don't have, because I have so much. And I think that you guys should always remember that you have something in you. You have something to give to the world. You have something that makes your life better. Even when you're at rock bottom, sometimes it's just being alive. Sometimes it's just the fact that you're alive today and you made it to the next day. You will be an old lady or man, if you're watching, and you will not necessarily have the external beauty that you had when you were 20s or 30s or 40s, but you will have your life, you will have your family, you will have your legacy. Hopefully you have some retirement, because the economy, but you will have something to show for it. And I think that that is the most important thing. I understand we live in a very superficial world. These things do exist, but what can you do? If you don't have it, what are you going to do? You know? So I think that it is always important to build yourself, grow yourself, embrace yourself, get to know other people, because you being attractive or not attractive, yeah, it helps. But I think it's also important to realize that there's more to life than worrying about if you have pretty privilege. There are people that literally look unattractive and have some of the best lives ever because they've chosen to prioritize the most important aspects of it. So I hope that you guys really got something out of this video. Let me know below what you guys think about whether there is actual downsides to pretty privilege or not. What you think about some of the takes and some of the creators in this video. I mean no disrespect to any of the creators that is in this video. You posted it on TikTok, so it's fair game, so stop hating. But anyways, I am your girl tuadior. I'm happy to be back in here with you guys today. If you like this video, do not forget to give me a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.